You know that frustrating loop where you weigh every option, rethink your choice, and still feel uneasy after deciding. But what if the way out of that cycle is much simpler than you've been making it? Today we're focusing on one specific skill, how to stop second-guessing yourself when making decisions. This matters right now because that constant doubt doesn't just steal time, it quietly drains your confidence and peace. When you learn to catch and calm that self-doubt early, decisions start feeling lighter and more trusted. The truth is, most second-guessing isn't about making a wrong choice, it's about losing trust in your own ability to handle the outcome. In this video, I'll walk you through a calm, practical process to break that habit step by step. So let's begin with the first simple shift you can make the next time you feel that familiar hesitation. Second-guessing yourself is that nagging feeling that hits right after you make a choice. It's the voice in your head that whispers, "Are you sure that was the right one?" In real life, this shows up in small moments, like picking a coffee order or deciding what time to leave for work. It also appears in bigger decisions, like choosing a job or ending a relationship. The truth is, second-guessing isn't about being careful, it's about doubting your own judgment. When you constantly question yourself, you lose trust in your ability to make good choices. This topic is really about learning to trust that initial instinct you had before the doubt crept in. Let's explore why this matters so much for your everyday peace of mind. Second-guessing drains your mental energy in ways you might not even notice. It keeps your brain stuck in a loop of replaying past decisions and worrying about future ones. This constant mental chatter makes it hard to feel calm or present in the moment. Over time, it can lead to anxiety, fatigue, and a sense of being stuck in life. The real cost isn't just the time lost, it's the confidence you slowly give away. When you stop second-guessing, you free up space to focus on what actually matters. Your well-being improves because you're no longer fighting yourself over every little choice. Now, let's look at what life feels like when this habit takes over. When second-guessing is missing from your life, decisions feel lighter and less stressful. You make a choice, and you move on without replaying it in your head. There's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you did your best with what you had. You stop asking others for validation on every small decision you make. Without that constant doubt, you have more energy for creativity, relationships, and fun. Life becomes less about avoiding mistakes and more about learning from them. You start to see that most decisions aren't life or death. They're just steps forward. But to get there, we need to understand the habits that keep you stuck in doubt. If what we talked about today felt familiar, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one small decision you've been second-guessing lately? Sometimes just naming it out loud can help clear the fog. And if you found this helpful, hitting the like button really does help more people find these ideas. Subscribing is a simple way to keep this kind of gentle support in your feed. You can also click on the next video right here if you want to keep the momentum going. No pressure, just an invitation to stay with this topic a little longer. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in a moment. One of the biggest blocks is the belief that there's always a perfect choice waiting for you. This perfectionism makes you overthink every option, hoping to avoid any regret. Another common pattern is seeking too much outside advice, which drowns out your own voice. You might also have a habit of replaying past mistakes, which feeds the fear of making new ones. The belief that you need to be 100% sure before acting keeps you frozen in place. These habits aren't your fault. They're learned responses to pressure and uncertainty. Recognizing them is the first step to breaking free from their grip. Next, let's talk about the mindset shift that can start to change all of this. The first mindset shift is to accept that uncertainty is a normal part of every decision. You don't need to know the outcome to trust that you can handle it. Instead of aiming for the perfect choice, aim for a good enough choice that moves you forward. This shift takes the pressure off and lets you act with less fear. It's not about being reckless, it's about being realistic about what you can control. When you embrace uncertainty, you stop treating decisions as tests of your worth. You start to see them as experiments that teach you something either way. With this mindset in place, you're ready for the first practical step to change your habit. The first practical step is to set a simple time limit for small decisions each day. For example, give yourself 30 seconds to choose what to wear or what to eat for lunch. When the time is up, make your choice and stick with it. No second-guessing allowed. This trains your brain to trust your initial judgment without overanalyzing. You might feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is a sign of growth. The benefit is that you build decision-making muscle, making bigger choices easier over time. Start with just one small decision a day and notice how your confidence grows. In the next part, we'll explore how to apply the same approach to bigger life decisions. Let's paint a picture of what not second-guessing yourself actually looks like in a regular day. It's not about never feeling doubt. It's about how quickly you move past that doubt and trust the choice you made. You might choose a restaurant or a route to work without reopening the question again in your head. When a friend asks what you want to do, you give a clear answer instead of listing every option and asking them to decide. Realistically, you'll still notice that little pull to rethink things, but you'll recognize it and let it go. The relief comes from realizing you saved mental energy that you'd normally burn on endless loops of what if. A simple way to test this is to pick a small decision today and refuse to revisit it after you make it. Once you feel how much lighter that feels, you'll want to apply it to bigger decisions too. One of the most effective daily habits for stopping second guessing is something called close the file. It means that once you make a decision, you mentally shut the drawer on that topic and do not open it again. You can reinforce this by actually saying out loud, I made my choice, and that's enough. For example, after you send an email or pick a time for a meeting, just move on to the next task without reviewing your reasoning. The tricky part is that your brain will want to pull you back into the file, especially if nothing bad happens right away. But each time you resist, you train your mind that revisiting is not necessary for safety or success. Try this for just one day with the smallest decisions, like what to wear or what to watch. Over time, closing the file becomes automatic and you stop feeling the urge to check back in. If you're looking for more practical ideas to help you feel more grounded in your daily choices, I have a suggestion. Over at www.happylifetribe.com, you'll find articles and resources that build on what we talked about today. It's a space focused on encouragement, support, and calm living inspiration for real life. Whether you want to explore mindful lifestyle guidance or just need a gentle reminder to slow down, it's all there. You don't have to figure everything out on your own. Think of it as a quiet corner where you can come back to yourself. The site is free and always open whenever you need it. I hope it becomes a helpful companion on your journey. A really common mistake is trying to stop second-guessing by demanding total certainty before you decide. People think, I'll just wait until I'm 100% sure, but that's a trap that keeps you stuck. In reality, no decision comes with perfect information, and waiting for it only feeds more doubt. You end up over-researching, asking more people, and delaying what could have been a fine choice. The misunderstanding is that you think you need to eliminate uncertainty, but you actually just need to tolerate it. The benefit of accepting some uncertainty is that you free yourself to act even when things feel incomplete. Next time you catch yourself saying, I'm not sure yet, ask if you have enough to move forward, not if you have everything. That small shift from perfect to good enough can break the cycle of endless second-guessing. To make stopping second-guessing feel realistic, you need to lower the stakes in your own mind. Most of your everyday decisions are reversible or have very small consequences, but your brain treats them like life-changing choices. A practical tool is to ask yourself, what is the worst that could realistically happen, and can I handle that? Often the worst outcome is just a minor inconvenience, which suddenly makes the decision feel less heavy. The overwhelming feeling comes from imagining all the possible negative branches, not from the actual risk. When you put the risk in perspective, you realize most decisions are just small experiments, not permanent traps. Try to think of each choice as a test you can adjust later, rather than a final answer. That flexibility makes it much easier to decide quickly and move on without replaying the moment. As you get better at not second-guessing, you'll notice a quiet shift in your emotional baseline. The constant low-level anxiety that used to hum in the background starts to fade. You feel more trust in your own judgment, even when things don't go perfectly. A mistake no longer feels like proof that you were wrong to decide. It just feels like information you can use next time. One of the biggest changes is that you stop carrying the weight of decisions after you make them, which frees up mental space. You might also find yourself less irritable with others because you're not silently relitigating old choices in your head. The emotional benefit is a sense of calm that comes from knowing you can handle whatever unfolds. That inner steadiness makes future decisions less scary and more like natural steps forward. When life gets hectic, second-guessing often sneaks back in because your brain craves control and chaos. To keep momentum, you need a simple anchor that doesn't require extra time or energy. One anchor is to set a 1-minute timer for everyday decisions and commit to your choice before it rings. Another is to write the decision down on a sticky note and physically turn it over or set it aside. The mistake is thinking you need to practice perfectly every day, but even small wins count when you're busy. What keeps the habit alive is the memory of how much calmer you felt when you weren't constantly second-guessing. So on a chaotic day, just choose one small decision and make it stick without revisiting it. That single act, repeated over time, is enough to carry you into the next natural step of this journey. Over time, the shift starts to change more than just the big decisions you make. It quietly reshapes how you move through your ordinary day, from small choices to larger ones. You begin to notice that you spend less mental energy rethinking what you already decided. That freed up attention lets you focus on what's actually in front of you instead of replaying past moments. At first, the change feels subtle, like a lighter background noise in your mind. But after a few weeks, you realize you're making choices faster and with less inner resistance. You start trusting your own judgment more, even when the outcome isn't perfect. This growing trust becomes a foundation that makes each new decision feel a little less heavy. One of the most comforting things about this path is knowing you're not walking it alone. There are others out there just like you, learning to trust themselves a little more each day. If you'd like to be part of that kind of supportive space, consider subscribing to the channel. You can also visit www.happylifetribe.com to connect with a community focused on intention, gratitude, and emotional balance. It's a place where small steps are celebrated and no one expects you to have it all figured out. You can share your experiences, ask questions, or simply read and feel less alone. This is an open invitation to belong at your own pace. I'd love to have you there, and I'll see you soon. Even after you've made real progress, a setback can still show up when you least expect it. Maybe you face a high-stakes choice at work or in a relationship, and the old doubt creeps back in. That moment can feel like you've lost all the ground you gained, but you haven't. The challenge is that your brain still remembers the old pattern of second guessing, and it can react automatically. You might find yourself lying awake at night, replaying options and wondering if you chose wrong. This is normal, and it doesn't mean your practice has failed. It just means the habit is still there, waiting for a chance to resurface. The key is to recognize it quickly and not let it spiral into a full relapse. When you notice yourself slipping back into second guessing, the first step is to pause without judging yourself. Remind yourself that this is a natural part of learning any new skill, not a sign of weakness. Take a slow breath and ask yourself what you actually know right now, not what you fear might happen. Then, make the smallest possible decision you can in that moment, even if it feels uncomfortable. For example, if you're stuck on a choice, commit to one option for just the next hour. This short commitment lowers the pressure and helps you rebuild momentum quickly. After you act, notice how it feels to move forward instead of staying stuck. Each time you recover this way, the old pattern loses a little more of its power over you. This approach helps anyone who tends to overthink choices, especially people who care deeply about getting things right. It's particularly useful for those who have a perfectionist streak or a strong sense of responsibility. If you often worry that a wrong decision will hurt others or waste time, this practice speaks directly to that fear. It also helps people who have been criticized in the past for their choices and learn to doubt themselves. The reason it works is that it doesn't ask you to stop caring, just to stop letting fear run the show. You can still be thoughtful and careful, but without the endless loop of second guessing. Whether you're a student, a parent, a professional, or someone navigating a big life change, this skill applies. It meets you where you are and gives you a way to move forward with more clarity and less weight. To start putting this into practice today, pick one small decision you've been putting off. It could be something like choosing a time to call a friend or deciding what to wear to an event. Give yourself a strict time limit of 2 minutes to make that choice and then commit to it. Once you decide, do not revisit the decision for the rest of the day, no matter how tempting it feels. If doubt creeps in, remind yourself that you made the best choice you could with the information you had. At the end of the day, notice how it felt to stick with your decision without reopening it. Repeat this with one small choice each day for the next week and watch your confidence grow. This simple practice builds the muscle of trusting yourself, one tiny decision at a time. Learning to stop second-guessing yourself isn't about never feeling uncertain again. It's about building a relationship with uncertainty that doesn't paralyze you. Every time you choose to move forward despite doubt, you send a message to yourself that your voice matters. Over time, that message becomes a quiet, steady belief that you can handle whatever comes. You will still make mistakes, and that's okay, because mistakes are part of being human and learning. What changes is that you stop letting the fear of mistakes keep you from living your life fully. This practice is worth it because it gives you back your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. And the best part is, you can start right now with the very next choice you make. So as we wrap up here, I hope you feel a little more equipped to trust yourself the next time a decision comes your way. Remember, that quiet inner knowing is already there. You just need to give it space to speak. You can start practicing what we talked about today, even with one small choice this evening. If this video resonated with you, please take a moment to like it and subscribe to the channel for more gentle guidance. For ongoing encouragement and practical ideas, you can always visit us at www.happylifetribe.com. There you'll find a supportive community focused on calm, living inspiration, and mindful lifestyle guidance. Thank you for spending this time with me and for being open to a kinder way of moving through your day. Take things one step at a time, and I'll see you in the next video.